established in 1975 to foster the socio-economic development of member countries and vulnerable communities in compliance with Islamic or ethical principles.
Dalam kesempatan ini, Dr. Himun Izar menyampaikan pula perkembangan ekonomi syariah dalam berbagai bidang di dunia bisnis dan industri internasional.
Some of us may be quite strong enough in terms of propagating the word Islam or Islamic finance. It can't be ethical values because at the end of the day, we are following Sharia principles. So the Islamic word cannot be equated with ethical. Islamic is perhaps significantly broader than that. Well, that may be the case. For us living in Indonesia, living in Muslim majority countries where we have so much comfortable zone around us, let us think hypothetically what will happen with some of our colleagues, friends living in the European countries, in the West, or even in Africa, where they are minority, where the word Islam is always associated with battle, with terror, with extremism. Nowadays, Islam has been strongly associated with refugee. Is it that simple? No, it is not simple at all. Just over a week ago, I happened to be in Turin. There was an event of Islamic financial product innovation. You might be surprised that just 2 days before the event took place, the professor as well as the deputy mayor of Turin were summoned by the Secret Service of the government of Italy. The reason being Islamic finance. So Islamic finance is not easy to propagate, to disseminate the knowledge of Islamic finance. They were simply being questioned by the local authority. What are you doing with this Islamic finance? We do not acknowledge Islamic finance. Obviously, because Islam in Italy was still strongly associated, as I mentioned before, with terrorism, extremism. The last one was about refugee. And for us, we can simply say Islamic. Right? So let us think perhaps a bit broader way to have sense of shared humanity in that regard. So coming back to the information about Islamic Development Bank, it offers the development financing. So we provide financing as well to our member countries. It promotes Islamic financial service industry, provides knowledge services for development as well. Last is to build capacity and promote technical cooperation. The last, in December, in late 2014, I was involved in the technical assistance to the government of Tanzania to develop their Islamic financial services industry. For us, it will be pretty much straightforward to develop Islamic financial service industry. It's just a matter of choosing the channel from the Islamic capital markets, Islamic banking, takaful, and so on and so forth. But in those countries, although the majority of the population are Muslim, but to come up with the word Islamic in the beginning will be very much tricky. So what we did, we go back to the act, or the existing legal act, undang-undang setempat di Tanzania. What we did to allow Mudarabah scheme to be incorporated in the banking system, what we did was just to amend, mengubah sedikit the definition of deposit. It was what we did when we had the government of Tanzania develop Islamic financial services industry in the country. Rather than starting with there are 4 stages, ada 4 tahapan. The prohibition of riba, we cannot do that. Once we do that, the whole things will be dismantled. Well, As I mentioned before, it may be possible in our country, in Malaysia, in Brunei perhaps, or perhaps in Pakistan, but in those countries in Africa, European jurisdictions and others, please do not do that. Because still, there are many Muslims who are still being skeptical about whether interest in the banking system is riba or not. Let me tell you one story. When the Islamic Bank of Britain was established, bank pertama retail bank di Inggris, namanya Islamic Bank of Britain. Well, obviously, yang namanya Islamic Bank, interest adalah haram harusnya. Tapi di Islamic Bank of Britain harus mencantumkan interest rate sekian-sekian per annum, per tahun. The local Muslim community was questioning, mempertanyakan kenapa kok masih tercantum itu. Sebabnya adalah by law you have to mention that. Padahal itu sebenarnya merujuk kepada profit sharing, bukan kepada interest rate. Pertama. Secondly, selama masa pendirian Islamic Bank of Britain, karena by definition, if we want to fulfill the requirements of the Sharia principles, contoh mudharabah atau musyarakah, mungkin saya nggak perlu menjelaskan mudharabah atau musyarakah, nanti silakan tanya ke Dr. Rifki dan Dr. Linda, dia pakar-pakar juga di sini. By definition adalah kita tidak bisa menggaranti prinsipal, betul. But Bank of England tidak memperbolehkan hal itu. If you cannot guarantee the deposit from the third party fund, yang namanya Islamic Bank of Britain ini nggak bisa berdiri. Ente harus ikut aturan kita. Itulah kenapa banyak hal terjadi antara mismatch di awal-awal pendirian di beberapa negara antara Sharia Principles dengan Legal Act. Maka perlu ada adjustment tertentu di situ. Kedua, ketiga, berkenaan dengan interest atau riba. Di tataran internasional itu ada namanya Syekh yang sangat terkenal, namanya Syekh Taqi Usmani. Mungkin kalau di ilustrasinya kalau di Indonesia ya macam kayak gitu Ali Lafi, pokoknya yang sangat heavyweight, kelas berat. Masyarakat Leicester, ibaratnya saja misalkan masyarakat awam, tidak mempercayai bahwa interest is riba, hence haram. Maka kemudian yang dilakukan oleh local authority di Leicester adalah they invited Syekh Taqi Usmani to come and give an extensive lecture trying to convince Muslim community di Leicester bahwa interest itu, bunga bank itu adalah haram karena dia mengandung riba.